Former Vice President Joe Biden is reportedly in the final stages of deciding whether to run for president. The New York Times reports that Mr. Biden has told allies that he sees himself as the Democrats' best hope of defeating President Trump in 2020 and is skeptical about anyone else's chances. The Times writes that anonymous Democrat who spoke to Mr. Biden says that Biden told them, quote, "If you can persuade me there is somebody better who can win, I'm happy not to do it, but I don't see the candidate who can clearly do that who can clearly do what has to be done to win." David Asman, last year I watched him come out from on the couch. We were in a different studio at that time, and he came and he was giving his speech, and it sounded like he was going to change his mind in the middle. When we had been told he was coming out to say he wasn't running, and then he switched to, that it sounded like he was going to say he was. I think he does believe he's the best guy.
Well, that's one thing that's very engaging about him. You never know what he's going to say next. I don't think he knows what he's going to say next. Sometimes he speaks and his gaffes are just wonderful. He'd give us a field day. I mean, there'd be so much time. I love, this is my favorite one. He said in 2012, "I never had an interest in being a mayor because that's a real job. You have to produce. That's why I was able to be a senator for 36 years."
Yeah. That's just true.
He bought a lot
I don't think that was a gaffe. I think he was
that's just true.
That's true. But one thing we were talking about, Capri and I, over the break, was the fact that there are a lot of Republicans who could probably vote for this guy. I mean,
now, why do you say that?
Because he has appeal to the middle, to the great middle. I mean, here's a guy who voted strong on criminal justice. He voted for the Iraq War in 2002. I mean, he's
an old school Democrat.
He's an old school Democrat.
One that a lot of people in the middle of the country still understand that he can connect with. But, he does face a little bit of an uphill battle because he has run for president a number of times since 1988. There's no question that he's incredibly experienced. I think he's really good at connecting with people. I think he's authentic, which is something that Hillary Clinton, obviously missed the mark on by a great stretch. But I mean, I think that it's going to be hard for him because it's going to be a crowded field, and I think that in the absence of superdelegates, which have been eliminated out of the Democratic National Committee, the establishment Democrats are not going to have the juice. It's going to be hard for them. And I have some breaking news. I'm the anonymous Democrat.
Yes, no doubt. I have no doubt about that. Kennedy, so when you heard David describing him, and you heard some of the things Capri said, he's very Trumpian. I mean, you're talking about somebody who, can appeal to the middle. He's the same kind of crowd. The gaffes. I mean, the stuff that we like to make fun of. That the other side.
The debate's very entertaining, if nothing else.
Oh yeah.
If you've got two gaffe machines and two people who like to work on the fly and who aren't necessarily
who's taking who outside the barn? Remember that?
Offending people, and I want to put the idea about his age to bed a little bit, because if someone expresses energy and creativity and enthusiasm, I don't care what the number is.
Right.
If someone really has the tenacity to protect the country in the way that is necessary, especially from Democrats who tend to be strangely hawkish at sometimes and very inconsistent on foreign policy. And Joe Biden has been accused of that, but you would much rather see someone like that who actually has experience than someone, I think of Beto O'Rourke being woken up in the middle of the night with an emergency in regards to North Korea or Syria or Turkey. What the hell is he going to do and say? I think there are actually people like Kim Jong-un who are just waiting so excitedly for someone like Beto O'Rourke because they know it would be more strategic patience and another person to push around.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that's been talked about is maybe Biden Beto, and I know you
shared Beto.
Yeah.
I think shared Brown Beto O'Rourke could be one mean
Brown
ticket.
Beto?
Yeah. And
I like Biden Cafaro.
I mean, I haven't actually
about Biden.
Cafaro would never be on the bottom of that ticket.
Oh, well.
He's already been
running for federal office.
He could not get elected against Ted Cruz. So let's just...
Right, that's right. I mean, just because you came close in a red state doesn't mean you're going to carry the day.